Hello, welcome to Mrs. Moriarty's art class. Today we're going to be going over the color wheel, and this is a demo on what you will be doing for your color theory exercises. Ideally, if you have acrylic paint, that's what you should be using because that's what we would be using in the classroom. If you don't have acrylic paint, then the next best thing would be colored pencils. Colored pencils are great because you can really layer with them, and I'm going to be showing you how to use only the primary colors, using either worksheet, red, yellow, and blue, or magenta, yellow, and cyan. When you're looking for your reds, make sure you pick a cool red. Ideally, you would want magenta, and I'm going to go over why. The next best thing would be a cool red. This is a crimson red. What you don't want is you don't want this kind of orangey red, because when we try to make our violet, if you use an orangey red and you mix it with a blue, we all know now that complementary colors create a brown. So since this has so much orange in it, orange and blue make this kind of brown color. Okay? So if you use this crimson red, and this is an ultramarine blue I have, you'll get a cooler rather than a brownish color purple. Now, this is why if you have magenta and cyan, which is like an aquamarine turquoise color, and yellow, why you'd rather use the magenta and the cyan. Because when you layer magenta and cyan, you get much more brilliant colors. That's what they use in printers, magenta and cyan in yellow ink in printers. You'll see the difference. You get this much more brilliant purple rather than kind of like a grayish or brownish purple. If you don't have them, then just use what you have. You would just try to get the coolest color red that you have. Okay? Same with yellows. If you have the choice between these two yellows, pick the cool yellow. Okay? So since I have magenta and a cyan and yellow, this is what I'll be using. So you can either print out this handout or you can just redraw it in your sketchbook. Okay, there you'll notice there's two rings. The inside ring is going to be the true colors, and the outside ring you're going to layer complementary colors down. If you are painting, you're just going to be mixing for this outside ring, but there's a separate demo for acrylic paint. So I'm just going to start with yellow, and I'm going to color in this entire triangle. And because going all the way here to the blue, I'm going to have some yellow down, I'm going to actually just color in, just to save some time, this entire block of triangles. Try to be neat about it. You can rotate as you go. I'm going to stop at blue. We're only going to be using the three primary colors to complete this color wheel. Okay? So I'm just going to show you this four set of segments here, from yellow to blue-green. So now for yellow-green, I'm going to layer a really pale layer of this cyan or blue, whichever one you'll be using, on top. I want my yellow-green to look a lot more yellow than my green, and I want my blue-green to look a lot more blue than my green. So I'm just adding a real pale layer of this cyan, just to make it so that my yellow-green, and then I could take my yellow and burnish a little bit. And burnishing it just means you're just building up that waxiness, and it makes it a little bit more saturated, a little bit more bright. So now I'm going to go to my green, and I'm going to layer cyan again on top. And I'm going to go a little bit more heavy-handed because I want my green to look different than my yellow-green. It should have more blue in it, or cyan. Now if I really want to burnish it and make it a little bit brighter, I can layer that yellow back on top. So with colored pencils, that's the beauty with colored pencils. Colored pencils, layering, the more layering, the more vibrant your art will be, the less flat it will be, the more interest. And so now when I go to blue-green, I'm going to go even more heavy-handed with this cyan blue color. So the trick is I just want to make sure that there's a difference between my yellow-green, my green, and my blue-green. They shouldn't all look the same. And if you did check out my previous demos, you'll see my nails are a lot nicer looking. And I'm using magenta and cyan. Okay, so now when I go to my blue, I'm just going to use this pure cyan color. Take your time, craftsmanship counts. Do you want to pause and get your color reel all set up so you can do this along with me? You can do that, okay, because I'm going to go over the complementary colors next. So what I would do is I would go around and fill this complete color reel in, fast forward, so it looks like this. So this was my first attempt, and I want to kind of go over this because I want to show you this yellow-orange. I went with magenta first, and so that's why it looks too orange. I would want your yellow-orange to look a lot more yellow. So when you do your yellow-oranges or your yellow-greens, make sure you put yellow down first, and then a real pale color of that next color down, okay? But looking at the complements, okay? So when you're ready for the complements, you're just going to go across the color wheel. So across from green would be red. So I'm just going to take my magenta and layer. It's called kind of like glazing with oil paint. I'm just going to glaze the color of this red on top. Okay? And if I go across from blue-green, it's red-orange. So I'm going to layer red and a little bit of yellow on top. Now here, for the complements, if you want to just grab, if you have a full set of color pencils and you just want to grab, let's say you had an orange color pencil, like so, you can just layer the orange on top. So instead of layering, that is fine. So if I have a yellow-green and I have like a reddish-purple color, which I do right here, this is kind of like a reddish-purple color, I could layer that on top. And what I'm doing is I'm just creating like these neutral brown colors, because when you layer complements together you get neutral brown colors. Now you'll be able to see it more with paint. Red and blue, or sorry, orange and blue make a different neutral color than red and green versus yellow and purple. Okay, the yellow and purple make a little bit more of a grayish brown, where the orange and blue make a little warmer color of brown. Okay, so that's your first step for your color theory exercises. There will be a different demo for the color ribbon and the color matching. But this is the first step, so take your time, have fun with it, and I can't wait to see your results.